Hello everyone, I'm Alder, and it's great to meet you all. Dreams are weird, aren't they? For some people they can be deep and symbolize a lot of stuff in their lives, and for others they can just be insane. I personally fall into the latter category with most of my dreams. They're usually weird anime amalgamations. Today I'm going to tell the story of a mecha dream I had one time a few months ago. It's arguably one of the more tame ones, so it's a good starting point. The dream opens up on a teenage kid. He's probably 16, give or take. He had brown hair and was wearing a gray jumpsuit. I don't remember his name, so I'll call him Mick. Mick went down to the cafeteria where he met with three other teens. Let's say their names are Alex, James, and Victoria. The quartet sat down and started to eat their breakfast. It was a pretty normal day. Then sirens started to go off. Mick choked a bit on his food and the kids started to run out. They came to a window that revealed they were on a red, dusty planet, most likely Mars. These bug-like aliens were starting to come down from the skies and began to charge these orange lasers out of their mouth. The attacks began raining down on the base. Holes were being blown open in certain sections, causing the oxygen in the base to start to rapidly drain out. Humans began to man some of the turrets that were built, but they were getting shot down pretty quickly. The kids ran and found the nameless commander of the base, who had a dark complexion and looked basically like Wrath from Fullmetal Alchemist. There was some dialogue that I can't remember, and then the kids got into giant mechs. Mick was the leader, so he got the quick sword fighting mech. Alex was the group's sniper and got a slow and bulky machine. James got the explosives and had a mech that basically had no arms but instead giant RPGs. Finally, Victoria got a cool robot with literally dozens of guns on each appendage. The kids flew out of the hangar, and then a few seconds later, it ended up exploding. The commander dead. They started fighting against the bug aliens, and everything seemed to be going well. Patriotic music was playing in the background, and it seemed like the kids were actually winning. But then a rogue energy blast ended up destroying the machine that Alex was piloting. He launched an escape pod in the nick of time, but then aliens clasped onto it, pulled him out, and consumed him. The rest of the kids tried to keep from throwing up at the sight. They were distracted, but while they were distracted, some of the aliens went and began targeting James. Victoria attempted to help, but the aliens going after James were so quick that they dodged out of the way, causing the bullets to hit James, ultimately piercing the cockpit and killing him in friendly fire. Victoria began to fire wildly into the air at anything that could move, but her machine was quickly overtaken, and she was pried out by claw-like appendages piercing her stomach. It was just Mick left, who had been awestruck at everything that had happened so quickly. With the last of his friends and the base down below them destroyed, the alien fleets turned their attention towards him. The aliens flew towards him in herds, but at this point he wasn't focusing on fighting. Every time any alien attached to his mech, he would jettison whatever part they had landed on. Eventually he got up into space where he antagonized the hive of aliens. They began to swarm Mick, where tears in his eyes, with tears in his eyes, he activated the self-destruct. Mick killed himself in the hopes that the explosion would be large enough to save the remainder of the citizens on other colonies. It seemed like the sacrifice had been worth it, because everything in space was motionless for a few minutes after that. But then one of the eyes of the aliens began to move, and they continued their assault, probably killing all of humanity in the end. That was where it ended. Yikes, that was a downer for this first video. It serves as a good introduction to who I am, though. I'm not the most optimistic person, and I enjoy stories where characters live and die, especially kind of rapidly. I don't know, it just helps them feel more realistic to me, which is probably why I'm so drawn to Berserk, for example. My next dream video, however, will be a lot less of a downer. It's going to focus on a diplomat who gets tasked with bridging the communications between a human society and a squid person society. So keep an eye out on that. Anyways, thanks for watching. Have happy dreams out there, everyone. Have a good night.